And I think we're live now. We had those technical difficulties there. If anybody's watching in the chat room, make sure you chat and let me know if you're seeing us, if we're live yet. Welcome to the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season 2, episode number 15. And once again, Angelo, it is Be a Man Monday. You know what that means?
Be a man.
You're going to get the quote of the night. Ready? Tonight's quote is, if there's no room in the fridge for beers, get rid of the food. Be a man. Waiting in the green room, hopefully our green room guy will show up. Dr. Neil Vitale. He is the owner and operator of the G.I. Joe Museum in Lone Wolf, I think, Oklahoma. Is that right, Ace?
Yes, that's correct.
Lone Wolf?
Lone Wolf. The great city of Lone Wolf.
Great. Hey, okay, so we're live. Murray's here. Big Boss Jack, obviously. He's always here. Matthew O'Connor, thanks for joining us. Axis Films. Patty. Axis Films. Okay, cool. All right, so we are live. Great. Tonight's channel plug goes to Awesome Models, Comics, and Toys. Awesome Models, Comics, and Toys. Check them out. I'd like to thank all my subscribers, and 3 of my newest followers are Jason Brown, Terrell Ashby finally subscribed to my channel. Thank you, Terrell. And Zach Wallace. And speaking of subscribers, I've recently gone over 3,000. So I want to thank all my subscribers, all my followers. It's been a long time coming. I started this in 2020, really doing 1/6 scale stuff and getting it out there. So I'd like to thank everybody. And because of that, we did a little giveaway. If you watched my last video. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Angelo DeAnnabelle because he is the one that got me started in this. And what we're going to do, Ange.
Yeah. Talk to me.
You were the guy that got me started in boxing, doing my custom boxes. I have over 48 people that said they wanted a boxed.
I didn't get my name on there.
Well, you didn't say you wanted one, man.
I didn't either.
Ace doesn't want one. I know that.
Ace don't need that. He says I got the real.
Unless I have a vintage German from 1964 in the box, he doesn't want it. So hey, Ange, I'm going to read you some names, but they're not going to be in any type of order. I'm just going to read them around just so people know that they made the list. I'm not going to read all 48, but
okay.
Let's see. We got Walter McLeod's on there, Action Fan, Action Man. James Kessler, Brent Fox, Tristan Park, Peter Buckley. You wanted one. Let's skip down. Jeff Wright, War Duke Barron. So we got a lot of new names, a lot of familiar names that we know. Mike McCarthy's on there, who's also on the panel tonight. Eddie Burton, Alan Dawson from overseas.
Ooh.
Please don't pick him because I don't have to pay to send it over there. Okay.
He wins. He wins.
No, we give it to him next April.
Elite Action Joe Studios 1 and 2. We got both of them in there. Big Boss Jack's on the list, of course. Who am I getting? Murray Corrigan's in there. Donald Willer 9238. Newbie Modder. Tony Rowe 8300. So we got a lot of people on there. So Angelo,
all right.
You have not seen this list, correct?
I have not.
And I said it is listed numbers 1 through 48. So, sir,
yes,
I'm going to ask you to, however you want to pick a number between 1 and 48.
I get to pick?
You get, well, this was your idea, but since your name's not on the list, you can't win. So,
all right. Well, I got my calculator out so we're going to do math. So you guys said there's 48 people.
There are 48 that wanted one, yes.
All right, 48. What's 4 plus 8?
8.
What's 4 plus 8?
4 plus 8, 12.
That'd be 12, right? Yeah.
So we got 48.
Yeah.
And since 4 plus 8 is 12.
You're making this a lot harder than it has to be. Just pick a number.
Are you sure you're in school?
No,
he's not a math teacher. He never said he was a math teacher.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
48 divided by 12 is 4. So you're picking number 4 or 12?
So we're gonna pick number 4.
The person number 4 on my list.
How's that?
Are you ready for this? Drum roll, please. It is Mr. Tim Cope, C-O-P-E.
Woo!
Tim Cope, who a lot of times.
Hooray! Hooray!
A lot of times he's watching a show. So Tim out in Washington State, I remember, just PM me and give me your address, and I'll even let you pick which one. So actually, I should bring me in here.
There you are.
So this was one of
Wow,
them.
that's cool.
Ooh.
We got
That's really cool.
This is the unusual discovery, and this guy actually has the AOA shirt on. If you can see that, the Axis of Awesome T-shirt.
Yeah.
Asses,
sure does.
the asses of awesome. What was it?
Wow.
The Urban Survivor with
That's Axis of Awesome. And there's children that could be watching.
But ass is also a donkey.
Oh, that's true.
it's got the giant spider, and then I have the recovery from the stolen blueprints, and this one is actually two pieces from
that one.
Brad Curry. Brad Curry made the backpack, the jetpack.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
other
yes. I saw that. Yeah.
piece. Yeah. So
That's pretty cool.
I tried to combine a lot of 3D print stuff in there with other stuff, and of course Cotswolds figures in there too. So
Now, do you sign them, Paul, so that they're worth more?
no, I just
You gotta sign them.
Yeah.
So they're
You need to sign them.
authenticated by Paul Knapp. One
Can I
of
sign-
one of one.
can I sign it Ace Allgood? Do you think so?
Then no one can afford it.
Would it be worth more
That's
money?
right.
If I,
That's right.
all right. Well, Tim Coate, congratulations, and hopefully, when you watch this show, you can get with me, and I will send you that. So, all right. With that said, let's see who had nothing better to do on a Monday night than hang out with me in the panel. We're gonna go back to the top. First one on tonight was this gentleman right here, and we're gonna go with a baseball. We're going baseball tonight, okay?
Oh, sounds good.
Playing first base and wearing number 21 because, well, that's how many women he dated in high school. This is Stacy Armstrong.
Howdy. Glad to be here.
And moving down the line at shortstop, number 15 in your program, but number 1 in your hearts, it is Angelo DiAnnabelle.
Woohoo! Thurman Munson 15. That's what I remember, brother.
And we got this gentleman here batting third and wearing number 69.
That's
Just
right,
because he
baby.
likes that number, it is Ace. All good.
You know it.
And finally, batting second and playing center field. He eats more hot dogs at the ball field than he catches fly balls. This is Mr. Mike McCarthy.
Woo!
Way to go, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, I should have said pizza. That would have been more accurate.
Yeah.
Probably.
Pizza. Yeah.
Very true.
So welcome everybody to the live show tonight. We got 24 people already in the house. Great.
Awesome.
Of course, everybody wants to talk to Ace. Hi, Ace. Everybody wants to see
Hi.
Ace. Blah,
Hey,
blah,
this
blah.
is Mike.
No, Ace. Look
Yeah,
at Ace.
whatever.
Look at Ace. He doesn't have a hat on tonight.
No, I don't. I can put a hat on if y'all want. My pull
There you
cover
go,
up my
much better.
shiny head.
So we
Yeah,
do have
people
somebody in our
looking at
green
me.
room, but I'm not going to keep him waiting because he finally got the internet working at his house. So I'm going to go around real quick and say what's new in your zoo. So let's start back at the top. Let me scroll up here. We got Mr. Stacy. You were on first tonight. So
Oh,
what is
okay.
new in your zoo? Quickly, sir.
Well, I just did reflock repaints of a bunch of figures. That's about it.
That's about it. Come on.
That's it. It's basically it. Yeah, I
The
just took an easy day today.
The less you talk, the more Angelo's gonna talk. So you got.
Oh, so sorry. So here's one though. I'll show you real quick. And this is
There you go.
a 74 Kung Fu grip with original hands, and that's the head. I got this from the original owner. This is the head he got with it.
Awesome.
Ace, are you calling fake on that, or is that real?
What did you say it was, Stacy? I missed that.
It's a
yet?
74 Kung Fu grip.
Yep.
And those are original hands, and that's the original head that came with it with blue eyes. I took the hair off. It was in bad shape, but
Yeah,
you know, they
Yeah,
were just
man.
trying to get rid of them.
they were. I buy it. It looks good to
Yep.
me. Boy, those are nice eyebrows. Did you do anything to the eyebrows?
Yeah, I repaint them.
But you did those?
Yep.
Yeah, that looks good.
But
Yeah.
not the eyes, right? You said it was blue.
No,
eyes.
I didn't. I paint the eyes if I have to, but the eyes were original. The
Yeah.
scar and the eyebrows I did, and then the reflock, and then I
Hey,
restrung
looks
the
good.
figure, but the original hands are still on there. So
Those are good looking hands.
yeah, for original
Wow.
hands still, and they're soft.
Yeah, that's what's great. Sometimes they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's unusual to have the blue eyes instead of having
It sure
brown.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're usually brown. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it's a nice figure.
Everybody go
though,
home
so.
and look at your. Everybody go look at your astronauts now.
Yeah, no,
They go,
astronauts.
Yeah.
oh wow! I forgot about the eyes.
Angelo, what's new in your zoo? You've been on sabbatical. I know that teachers
Well,
take
you know,
sabbaticals all the time.
Here's
We
the
missed you for the
thing.
last 2 weeks.
Everyone needs to know, the check bounced the last time I sent it to Paul to be on the show.
That's
And
right.
Because of that, he banned me for 2 weeks. So I had to sit home and I had to, be on the sidelines. But now, I went through PayPal and he said it's okay. So I'm back tonight. So
Excellent.
I'm back. What's new in the zoo? Well, actually the sun came out today. So it was a miracle. We had like 1 day of sunshine in the last, 8 days. So it's starting to warm up here in great upstate New York. New York State testing is right around the block. So it's going to tell all the teachers how absolutely terrible we are because they're going to do standardized testing. Even though all of your students are learning at different levels, we're going to give them one test and it's going to make everyone even fit into that cookie cutter and then tell all his teachers how we all suck ass. Excuse me. But then again, school's almost over and it's going to be ready to play more with my toys. If you haven't seen what else is new in the zoo, this bad boy.
Yeah, I saw we've been posting on some of the websites. I saw
seen
that.
it on
That's
Facebook.
cool.
Yep.
I really
So
like that.
this is my latest box set. I was working with Jim with a 3D printed one, and Jim has been swamped. And I know, and I asked him a long time ago about this, but he had so many other things going on that I didn't think he was going to have an opportunity to get them all done. The pontoons, he sent me one set. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and build it on my own. So I got some PVC, got some dowels, I got an escape car seat, and I went and made my own. And I like it. Anytime I work with my hands and I build my own things, I enjoy it that much more. So this is going out as a box set, almost the same name as the Paul Knapp Amazon. Mine was called Amazon. I don't know what, but Paul said his
Oh,
is
really?
it. What was yours, Paul? Amazon what?
Dude, I can't remember.
Amazon
I made
lost in the Amazon
Oh,
jungle.
yeah, lost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. So that's it.
So why is he going fishing in the Amazon? I mean, he should be doing that.
Listen,
Hey, fishing is
he's got to
huge in the
catch
Amazon.
he's got to catch the piranha. He's got to catch the piranha in the Amazon.
All right.
And he's got to bring it back to headquarters because they got to analyze it because fuck do I know?
There is a backstory here.
There's always a backstory, but
all right.
they're going to catch
create a comic to go with that.
No, I should. I have a couple on but not for this one. But I might throw in some prehistoric fish or something in there too. Coelacanth or a Dunkioscalisk or something like that he finds. So.
Okay.
All right, we're moving to a
I go,
man. And hey, yeah, if that check bounces, you're off again next week.
Hey, I know. Hey, that's why PayPal it all.
How you doing, my brother? How's it going, man?
Really, really good. I got a couple things to say, Angela. I'm really sorry about the testing. We all know you suck regardless, so it doesn't really matter. So, anyway, that set is really something else, man. That's really cool. I really am impressed with the quality. It looks really, what a great creative thing. I really think it's cool. I will tell you, my father has been fishing in the Amazon. There's fly fishing in the Amazon, and you can catch these giant fish. And I could show you a picture sometimes. But what I want to show you what's new in the zoo is actually for you, Angelo, because it is testing. And we did something special for you. And you were telling me how much you love this figure before. I just want to show you one of these guys right here.
Bullet man. Where's my bike? I got to get my bike out of the shed. I got to get my rope and my bike.
I can tell it's against Angelo.
With his squishy head, with the messed up eyes and the bad hairdo. No, he's not Joe.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Angelo, now you know that you have a red unitard in the house.
Yeah, I know. Angelo with a unitard on it.
I'm going to find this picture of my father with this very giant fish that he caught in the Amazon, and it's going to be like, oh my god! But yeah, it's like a peacock. It's a peacock bass. That's what it was.
Wow.
Really?
Look up peacock bass, and they're giant
Right.
and they're super fun, all that kind of stuff. But so you can put a big old fish on the end of that line. I like it.
Hey, real
Very
quick,
impressive.
when's your next show you're going to, or is it going to be Dallas?
Next
You guys got
show
anything
that
before
I'm going, I'm actually going to be heading out to Chicago, to the Chicago Toy Show, and I'll be roaming around out there. I'm not going to set up there, but I will have a few things that I've got a couple transactions with some other people. And then the next show that I'm setting up at is in the DFW show, which is coming up in June. Late June. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's going to be a great show that Greg Brown puts on in Dallas, America. I think Jim Egner's going to be there and some of y'all. So please join us.
Very
Kane
cool.
County. Yes, sir. Kane County Toy Show.
All right. Our center fielder who eats more hot dogs than he catches fly balls. What's going on?
Nothing. Just dealing with my school crossing guard duties, getting ahead on bills and stuff, and not much in the GI Joe realm other than I got this deputy sheriff recently.
Yeah, he was a cool one.
Yeah, and just unboxed him. I got him a couple weeks ago. I just unboxed him today, and I love these GI Joe law enforcement officers. So yeah,
I've never seen the one in the black and the gray like that.
Yeah, it's it came out, I think, 99 or 2000.
Is that the sheriff or state cop? Was that
deputy sheriff? Yeah,
I think Greg Auteur did that figure.
Yeah, it. I know. Yeah, it was Greg Auteur because all the ones that have like the cartoons on the back, I guess, was his like tenure there. And this one was on a blister card with this really cool comic strip in the back. I should
Prosperity something bank or something like that.
Yeah, Prosperity Bank is the
that was the blue one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, and this is Coyote. I think this one's called Coyote Pass.
Yeah, or Coyote Crossing is Coyote Pass.
Murray's got it.
Yeah, that's what Murray just said.
That was sharp.
Yeah, if you can look real close, he's got this cool, satellite, handheld microphone that goes to his walkie-talkie, and realistic pattern on the duty belt there, and magazine pouches, handcuff pouch, the whole 9 yards. So
yeah, I like the campaign hat too.
Yeah. I thought about getting a second one of these and using it to sort of as a replacement for the Mountie hat, but I'll probably just track down a Mountie hat, original while I'm at it. I've been in the process of selling off some of my 40th figures and replacing them with vintage stuff. So I've already got a really good start on the painted head stuff, thanks to Mr. Ace Allgood. And now I just kind of burned through my 2006, 2007 Adventure Team stuff with some of the people in the chat probably bought a few figures from me. And now I'm going to replace them one by one and, get vintage.
Hey, Ace, do you see this comment from Vincent? Chuck? Is that true?
Yeah. Okay. Is that Greg hiding as Vincent? I don't know. I have a lot of Greg's prototype pieces, and I know I have parts and pieces to that set for sure. I think I do have a female version that was done for that, and it is what I'm in the process of going through all that stuff to display it all, and that is one of the things that's going to hopefully come out. So, Greg told you, okay, that makes a lot of sense because there's a whole lot of the stuff from that era that he has where he was putting things and pieces together that he would take like the different ones and show them. And boy, that'll be a fun set. It would really be, I can't wait to do a show where we go through all my Greg. I want to get Greg to come to my house and go through all the stuff and tell me, give like a video of what all this stuff is.
Sure.
He's such a wealth of knowledge and such an interesting guy.
Dude, that could be a whole page on your 3D Joe's page. That's kind of what,
I don't know if I've ever talked about that. I mean, I know y'all know I'm a huge vintage nut, but this whole other side of me is modern sample prototypes from the 90s and the 2000s. I'm really into that. So just because that's kind of my thing, that's been fun to chase down and get those things. But I just was at Ohio and got some super awesome pieces that I'm very excited about. And we could talk about those sometime too. So
Yeah, definitely, man.
Ace, did you catch that 40th anniversary test shot that was on eBay a few weeks ago?
I think I missed it. I must have missed it.
The figure with all the different colors.
Yeah,
I saw it.
Yeah, I bid on it a little bit, but
was it the multicolored guy?
Yeah.
I've got pictures I can send you. Ace.
I think the feet were the only thing that were flesh tone. Everything else was different colors.
Ace has
Is it
got
like
one.
green, blue, red, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
dude.
got one.
Someday when Neil's not waiting in the green room, I've got a hilarious story about that figure. Okay. And y'all are gonna really laugh, and we got to get my old buddy Bird on the thing to tell the story, because y'all, it's actually quite funny. It tells a whole lot about our relationship. But that's all.
Very cool. All right, we'll save that one, man, because Dr. Neil's already on a second beer in the green room waiting for us, so we got to get him started here. So I'm going to bring him in now. This is our special guest for tonight, and I'm going to stick with the baseball theme. So here you go, sir. You are our designated hitter tonight, all the way from the great state of Oklahoma. He has more G.I. Joes than he has friends. This is our special guest tonight, owner and operator of the G.I. Joe Museum and Repair Shop, Dr. Neil Vitale. Woo!
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So happy to have you
on, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just to be associated with you guys is really an honor. I appreciate this. I never expected this to kind of wind up where it did, and I'm just happy to talk with you guys about this.
I think you're doing what we all wish we could do, is have our own building,
absolutely,
display all of our stuff, and get to go to work every day and play with G.I. Joes. But
well, I have now 2 buildings, so we're expanding.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm not sure when Ace was here if there was 1 or 2 buildings. I couldn't recall.
I'm going to bring him in right now. And
you had 2. You were just kind of moving into that second building, and
okay.
I got to tell, I'm just going to say this straight up to everybody. Neil's place is so damn cool. If you ever get the chance, it is, anybody who watches this podcast will go in there and have the best time of your life, just looking at the Joes in the room, in the space. And you're going to get a chance to see beautiful Southwest Oklahoma, which is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. So it really is. It's a super awesome place. Neil, I'm so glad you're here, because you've got a great collection. I love how you have it displayed. The artwork on the walls. Look at that artwork behind him. It's painted. These giant walls were painted. I want him to talk about it, not me.
We were talking earlier today. He said his daughter does most of those, right?
All of them.
Sir, you said your daughter does all those? Yeah.
All of the murals, yes.
Wow.
And
very cool.
Well, I mean that, first of all, I was when Ace said he was coming, I totally just freaked out, because I am not really a collector in that kind of sense. I'm a displayer, and I love for people to kind of mess with the Joes. Some of them, not all of them. But I also knew that there was going to be some kind of mistakes and problems that your typical person that walks through my door wouldn't notice at all. But he certainly would, and I believe he pointed out a few things to me that I needed to fix. But I really enjoyed that. I mean, that was truly a highlight, having him come by and not nitpick, because he did not do that. But he pointed.
There was no need to nitpick, pal.
And pointed out some things, and it was really, I really appreciated it. And he brought his dad, I believe, and 2 other buddies, and we had I believe we did have a good time there prior to the OU game.
That's absolutely right. My father, I was just with my father. He moved to South Carolina. He was living, my father lived his entire life in Southwest Oklahoma, where this is, and he just turned 85. And I was just with him in South Carolina. And I told him I'd be on a podcast with him. He said to tell you hello and how much fun he had. I was with my best friend, Bert, this childhood friend of mine, and his brother, Dustin, who I've been collecting toys with since I was 4 years old. So it was a great thrill for all of us. And then we ended up going up to the Battle of the Washita, which was a couple hours north, and had a great lunch of, I think Dustin got fried gizzards, and I had this cheeseburger that you would die for. That was just in small town Oklahoma. It was super awesome. Anyway, it's great time.
Who wants to start with the questions tonight?
Hey, Neil.
Yeah.
How did you get started? I want to go back and I want to know a little bit of the history of how did this happen? How did you get into this? How did you get a building? Like so many of us wished we could do.
Well, I'm originally from New York, and in the 60s, I honestly, I don't remember asking for a GI Joe. I don't. I do know I wound up with a couple of them. I actually remember, because of the nature of our neighborhood, I actually had to get a Ken because there's so many girls playing with their Barbies. But GI Joe appeared. I don't know where it came from, honestly. And my dad built a really cool little GI Joe box, which fortunately I still have, and so I camouflaged it. But what he did
awesome.
was he made this box for me, which I was able to put both GI Joes in that I had. And
how cool is that?
And so that, and the problem was I was old enough that I grew out of it real quick. And so both GI Joes stayed in the box, and they stayed there. And when I went off to college, I gave it to a cousin. I said, Evan, just take this and do what you will with it. And then about, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago, he calls me out of the blue and says, hey, do you want your GI Joes back? And I completely forgot that I'd given it to him. And so I said, well, sure, that'd be great. Not really getting very excited about it because I hadn't thought about GI Joe for forever. And at right about that time, I was starting to really get into eBay. And so I got the box, and in the box were these two guys, not in the shape they are now. It was the dress parade, Air Force dress parade, and the LSO guy. And I do remember those guys, but they had very few. They didn't have complete uniforms. So there was a GI Joe, there were two GI Joes with incomplete uniforms, and there was eBay. And I didn't know anything about collecting or anything. I just said, I think I want to get these guys completed with their complete uniform. And so by the time I did that, by the time I got complete uniforms, I had, I don't know, it seems like hundreds of other pieces that I had to get for whatever reason. And then I said, oh, I almost got this one. And I do remember in the back of my mind a Green Beret, because there was, and there was an MP, there were a few MP, there was an MP helmet. And so I figured any little piece that was in the box, I wanted to create that GI Joe. And again, without, I was busy. I was a and still am, but I was a pediatrician, so I was really busy, and I just went on eBay and got all these parts, and it was kind of interesting, not only getting the parts on eBay, but creating these GI Joes, and then looking into a little bit as far as how they're created, and the uniforms and so forth, and then I got into like a 5-year jag of buying parts, and again, I didn't have the time, or I didn't even know where to go to get GI Joe parts. So I just got lazy and stuck with eBay. But I'd buy GI Joe parts, and I would put them together, and occasionally and mostly actually sell them. at like zero profit. But it was fun to do. So I think, and I kept track of this, and I don't know, it was like 500 that I over 5 years that I put together and sold, and had like nothing to show for it from a profit standpoint. But that was fine. And so that's kind of how it started. It's like a faded memory, a really fuzzy faded memory of G.I. Joe. I know I had them because I remember the box more than anything. And then when I started doing and started buying and selling, it really had it really piqued my curiosity as to this being a very interesting hobby for me.
Very cool.
And then I was near the age of retirement. I was going to semi-retire. My wife lived out here in Southwest Oklahoma. So our plan was to retire out into Southwest Oklahoma. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind, I mean, I did not choose Lone Wolf, Oklahoma as the ideal location for a G.I. Joe museum because that wouldn't have worked out well. But as y'all figured out, Lone Wolf was a really good location for a G.I. Joe museum because there were two huge buildings next to one another that were vacant and for sale. So I immediately bought one of them because it was a building we had previously co-owned with our in-laws who lived here. But they had a flower shop here. So they sold the flower shop and there's an empty building. So I moved in because, we had a smaller house and I just displayed a few G.I. Joes here and there. And I wanted to get into the repair business a little bit because I started doing that back in New York and Connecticut. Found it really interesting. It was self-taught. I didn't go on any YouTube videos to figure out how to do stuff. I don't know what I did with a whole lot of G.I. Joes. It didn't work out, especially the talkers, man. I must have destroyed a bunch of them in trying to figure it out. But I did. I figured it out. And so I opened the repair shop up. And so I put a big sign up and it said G.I. Joe Repair Shop. And it must have had 4 or 5 people come in, with like toasters and stuff. And they wanted me to repair them in town here because folks were really desperate to have some sort of business here in town. So I kind of told them, and when you explain to them that I only repair these G.I. Joes, they couldn't believe
That's
it.
awesome.
What are you doing? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And so that's kind of the way that started. I mean, fortunately, as it turned out, I then started collecting more rather than selling them. So this whole collection of 637 G.I. Joes started with 12 when I moved here 10 years ago. And fortunately, I was still working in the medical business. So I was able to kind of fund all that. And it made it a little easier. But it was still, and I still got into that unfortunate habit of building G.I. Joes and selling them for like no profit at all. And so that wasn't an income producer. But just having the space and then filling up. And so my plan was, when I first moved here, now Ace knows this probably, and you guys might also, but in Oklahoma, there's an action figure museum. It is in Pauls Valley, and they have the whole gamut of action figures. So before any of this business started, I said, okay, we have to go down there and have to check it out, because if they do a really good job with G.I. Joes, then there's no point in me doing it too in Oklahoma. So we went down there, and fortunately, because at the time I was really into I was very specific. I wanted to look at the 64 through 69 G.I. Joes, nothing else. Don't remember the fuzzy head guys. Don't remember the adventure team. Don't remember anything other than those painted Joes that, the couple that I had. So I went down there. Fortunately, they have a great display. They've got hundreds and hundreds of action figures, but their G.I. Joes, it lacked a bit. They had mostly
It's lame.
G.I. Joes. What's that?
I said it's lame.
Well, I don't want to, I mean, I know the guy, you know, and we're starting some sort of deal going on.
And he's not watching. He's on here tonight.
But
Well,
I told him this story.
It's a great museum. But you go ahead.
Yeah, from a GI Joe standpoint, there was a lot of new GI Joes, and so I said, okay, that's good. So I have an opening, and so this first building was mostly devoted to the 64 to 69 GI Joes, and then, you know, just like with the old Joes I had, when you start buying stuff and buying lots, and you start getting these other fuzzy-headed guys, whoever they are, you know, and, you know, what's this adventure team business? I honestly didn't know anything about it. Yep. Guess what? Okay. So we started collecting those guys. Yeah. And then the Bullet Man, what's that all about?
Bullet Man. You know, that's like, Angelo's favorite right there, man.
Yeah. It's like, I made a vow to myself that I'm just going to have those painted head Joes. And that didn't work out. So I figured
you went down the rabbit hole like the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. And so then all of a sudden the building next door, which was vacant, and I thought somebody bought 5 years before, no one bought, and it was just sitting there. So I said, oh, what the heck? You know, we'll buy that one. We had to rehab that one because it was an old grocery store. And, you know, it's about 100 feet long, and has several sections, a nice, you know, one of those tin ceilings. It was really old, but we spent a lot of time rehabbing that place, and we moved all the dioramas in there, and we have 8 or 10 dioramas in there, and this thing, and now, which is the old shop, which was the old beauty parlor, is now the museum, the original GI Joe museum, and so that's how this all kind of came about. I was just fortunate enough to be in really the right time, and I wanted, and since you know we let the adventure team guys in, you know, and they're all staring at me right now. So, but since we let those guys in, you know, then I said okay, and the only place I haven't gone yet is that Super Joe stuff. So I haven't gone into that yet, but it was because then all of a sudden a nice lady from Oklahoma City brought a couple of tubs of 3.5-inch guys, which again I knew nothing about, and didn't want to get involved with because there's too many of them. But she brought them in, and she's like, "Here, you can have them." Oh, great. Okay, so now we're curating all the 3.5-inch figures, and now we have
breed.
We have a bunch of those guys.
Wow. I think that's a new addition. I think he only had a few of those when I was there, the 3 3/4 guys, and that's interesting. I don't want to badmouth the action figure museum at all because it is a really cool museum. But it's just, I think that to Neil's point, the GI Joe display was a bit lacking, especially since it was the daddy of them all. That's my point.
Yeah. Little
Yeah,
disservice to the original action figure. Yeah.
I mean, they had a big space for it, but they really, again, the number of vintage Joes in there was they were definitely in the minority, so you know, good, because people like the museum, you know, and that's definitely a popular stopping place, and this became more of kind of a niche for me, at least, you know, for folks to come in and see those vintage Joes if they were interested in it. And an interesting happened 2 years ago, now. This person I did a repair for, his name is John Penn, from Indiana. So I repaired a few Joes, and then all of a sudden he sends an email to me. He's dying, and he phrased it a little differently, but he said, "I have these GI Joes, and I want to donate them to your." And I said, "Well, that's great. He's in Indiana, and what he's a kit basher basically. He doesn't just collect one, you know, specific GI Joe, not vintage. He just collects anything to do with military figures. And so I had a dilemma. I wanted to play these. Also made, you know, one of the broken promises to myself that this was just Joe. And all of a sudden I got somewhere between 20 and 40 boxes of GI Joes, Irwin vehicles, 21st century, and fortunately he knew somebody in Oklahoma, so this came in, and I had all these, I over 200 repro called in 21st century action figures that I find some space for, and I did, of course. And so we have those displayed now. So now it's really gone. It's almost now an action figure museum, because now all these nice GI Joes, or excuse me, action figures that were given by John Penn, and so we have a nice display for him. We have a nice, you know, a little commemorative plaque, so that people, you know, will see what he was. He was into a whole different kind of collecting than I was. You know, he would have this Cotswold figure with a Hasbro Japanese uniform on, and it's like, man, I don't know if that's a great idea. And he, I don't know where he got half the stuff. Honestly, it took me 2 or 3 months just to look at all the equipment and the guns and the uniforms, trying to call out, in the midst of that were about 12 vintage GI Joes. So, you know, we kind of removed them from that group and gave them their own display. But that really, that was really a very nice thing to do. And I was just kind of happy that I was able to hopefully successfully fix a Joe for him. And he sent me all those action figures.
Neil, I want to jump in one more question, and then I'll let someone else take over. I just want to ask you, in regards to the museum, how is it set up? Is it set up with dioramas? Is it set up? You mentioned by year. You know, how do you have the layout? If someone was going to come and see the museum, what would they expect to see and find in the museum? Well, I have basically two types of people that come to the museum. One is like Ace. It's like, oh, there's a GI Joe museum. I know all about GI Joes. I want to see it. And those guys are. It's great to talk with those folks. And interestingly enough, there's a lot of kids out there that are collecting action figures and GI Joes, and they bring their GI Joes with them. And they, I don't know, heard about me. You know, I guess internet's easy to, because I don't really advertise per se, except on Facebook. So there are people that know about GI Joes, but the best part really is when somebody just kind of wanders in. I mean, they're driving by and they see the big sign that says GI Joe Museum. And by the way, one marketing thing I did was I bought a 1946 Willys Jeep. That, now, first of all, I had some criteria. It had to run because I don't know anything about cars. So I found one that runs very nicely, even though a nice person in town helped me. And I park it out in front, and that just draws people. They go, "What the heck is that?"
Heck yeah,
and
man.
it's green, cool. You know. So it's a civilian Jeep. It's not a military Jeep, but it's painted in military color. And my goal is to make it look exactly like the Jeep. This
65 Jeep.
Yeah. You know, I want to get the same color and so forth. So there's people that just wander in and they have no idea what it is. And the most common comment is, I had no idea there were so many GI Joes. And yeah. I love it when people say that, because that's the point of the museum. Because, you know, most of you guys, you know, you've got the GI Joes you want, you know, you have them all set up the way you like it. but it's those people that had no idea that this existed, and they come in and they're just, I mean, it is kind of overwhelming if you think about it. You walk into this through this door, and and all of a sudden, staring you in the face, or in the first room here is two to 300 GI Joes, and all sorts of uniforms and equipment and so forth. But they had no idea. So I love the fact that those two groups kind of come in there, and because I'm an old guy and I just rambled on, Angelo, I forgot your actual question.
That's okay. I just want to know, in regards to setup, do you have the display cases by year? Do you have dioramas set up?
Well, yeah. I mean, now that I've got enough GI Joes, I have a chronology set up where I actually start with my Barbie and Ken and Skipper, and I put Ken there specifically just to see what just a sad figure he is, compared to the original GI Joes, with his, the arms that, those 5 movable joints or whatever he has. So I always like to kind of dig people like that. Of course, Barbie's still out there outselling everybody, but the point being that so when you come in, you do see that, and I also have a nice little display of the pre-GI Joe, those little green army men, and I went on eBay and I found an old picture of my of Christmas, and I could not find a picture of GI Joe at Christmas, so I don't think I got any GI Joes at Christmas time, but I did get the little green men set. I think it's called Battleground set.
Oh, Mark's Place.
I have that out for kids to play with. Kind of distracts them away from the the other GI Joes. But so I have this is what we played with before GI Joe, and then Barbie and Ken came along, and then I have it in a chronology from 64, all the way around the back to 69, and then it comes over to the Adventure Team and those kind of weird Defender guys, and so forth, and then in the other building, we have our 22-foot.
There's a backstory behind that, Doc. We'll get to it one day.
Okay. And then in the other building, we have our dioramas. And I tried to do one for each branch of the service. And since we had all those action figures from Indiana, a lot of them, and the main limiting factor are these damn display cases. They're just not out there, and you don't want to spend $1,000 on a display case, so you have to wait around until somebody sells a display case. And in my case, you have to wait around until somebody sells the case, and we'll deliver it. So fortunately, I just got 7 from a guy that works for a company that rehabs Walmarts. So I'm good on display cases now.
Very good.
Oh, that's great news.
Yeah. So, because I want to keep them in display cases and I don't have them all in display cases, honestly, because it's hard keeping them clean. One day in my other building where the diorama is out, out in the open, and all of John Penn's 200, Germans and Japanese and all the other are out in the open, and a bird got in to the museum, and this bird, I don't know where he came from or what his deal was, but he would just land on the guys. I don't know why he'd just land on the top of their heads, and then when he flew away, he'd knock them over, and he kept doing that, and he must have knocked over about 20 of them, and I couldn't get the bird out of the museum. I had the doors wide open, but this is a beautiful old building. It has massive windows, storefront windows, and nice transom up at the top, and he kept flying into those things. But I never thought I'd get that bird. He didn't. The thing is, he didn't poop anywhere. I don't understand that part, or at least I haven't found any yet. But I thought that was all over. I don't know how to.
There's somebody with the same last name as yours in the chat room. Is Rosie related to you?
Rosie is the artist.
She is the artist, huh? That is awesome. Yes. I think we need to get her on a show in the future.
How many paintings has she done, Neil? And they really are amazing, and they're huge and they're beautiful, and She just does a great job. And how do you decide what she's going to paint next?
Well, it it has to do more with space, than anything else. I think we started with the front door. She did the box of the action soldier, and I think if we're able to, I'll take the camera around and just kind of show you some of that. The one behind me, I actually helped a little bit with that one. The one that's behind me, the one from the talkers. And then as we go along, there's one in the back there. You can just barely see it. It's let's see, which way do I turn? There we are. It's the the diver, deep sea diver back there.
Well, can you walk us around with your phone? I mean, we got 10 minutes left on the show. I don't know if it's if it doesn't do what it did earlier.
Let's see if I can actually do that. Well, I better not do that.
If not, that's okay. But I mean,
it's worth the wait.
Well,
oh, here we go.
I think I can
there you go.
There we go. There we go. It's working.
So there's that one. And we'll come over here. And she did. That's hard to do from the front. G.I. Joe Action Sailor. And we'll go through space here in a little bit. We got a little space exhibit. But then if I can blind you here, then she did the Mountain Troops.
Oh, I like that one, man.
Oh, nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hold it there for a couple seconds, Dot.
Let me go back here. Let me get my hand out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
There's that.
Yeah.
And so what I will quickly do then, now keep in mind, the metropolis here of Lone Wolf has 400 people in it. So I have more G.I. Joes than there are people here.
It's always windy in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right. So the latest is the medic.
Wow, that's
oh.
Hold that there for a while.
Oh wow, that's really good.
Yeah, hold that there for a second. There you go.
And these are huge, guys. Huge.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's about 6 by 8 or so.
You better be paying your daughter for these.
Well, it's a long story, but she's compensated. And although my favorite is all the way on the other side, she did Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Dude, that's amazing.
And we have a Rosie the Riveter that lived in town and comes back to visit. She 100 years old, and she worked up a Boeing plant in Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, yeah.
And we have her posing in front of it. And this is the
that's a diorama.
Diorama. Okay.
Is that not awesome in the background there?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, the
That looks
short.
like the original Hasbro ads almost. The
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old D-Day invasion. Sure.
It almost looked like a picture actually at first, like it was a picture of a toy ad.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Doc, if you can just go real slow over your diorama, it's a little choppy, but the slower you go, the better it gets.
Yeah. Oh my is right, Murray.
Yep.
It's really cool.
So, Neil, what's the scale of that, or the size of that table? Wonder if he can hear us with his phone flip.
I'm gonna guess 15 by 15, 12 by 12, something like that.
I muted myself.
Oh.
It's 20 feet.
20 feet
wow.
long? Wow.
Yeah.
And how wide?
It's about 7 feet in
7 feet
some
wide.
areas and 4 in others.
You got the sandbox we all wanted, man.
I know.
No kidding.
A lot of sand in there. And I just love the way the sand kind of she matched the color of the sand on the mural. And it
Yeah.
looks like it goes on forever.
Action Joe Figs wants to know: are you open every day?
We are, well, like I believe Angelo. I retired from teaching, but I am now I retired from being a pediatrician, but am now teaching at our local school,
Oh,
teaching science. And so I'm in town, and I tell people, I mean, I'm usually here on Fridays and Saturdays, but I tell folks that they have my number. You know, the number's on the Facebook page, and all they have to do is call and tell me when they're going to be here, because then I can actually meet them, and then we can, you know, so they can make an appointment that way, and I can be around anytime.
wow.
Oh, that really
Look at
helps.
that mural now.
seeing
That's
that.
perfect. Like where you're at. I mean, it's coming in
Yeah,
so
you've
clear.
got great connect. Oh man.
Yeah, that's
Golly.
awesome.
That
So-
is awesome.
So Neil, do you change it up, or is it where it's at?
No,
Do you rotate figures, or do you do anything different on the diorama?
no. What I try to do is, because the mural was so big and there were so many, there's like 70 guys there in the, I had to kind of break my own rule a little bit, you know, my action figure museum rule, in that there's some non-Hasbro items in there. And so whenever I get some Hasbro items, I kind of swap them out. There's a lot of guys with 4 fingers there, because I don't know what the heck to do with them. So they're relegated to the diorama. So that's the only thing I really do with it. I add something. I added the German prisoner of war. I added the paratrooper, I think. And I got this huge howitzer, again, not a 64, 69 item, but it was a G.I. Joe item from the 90s, I think, or 2000.
Yeah, Hasbro. Yeah.
And did a tiny little bit of research and found that there were howitzers there, possibly on the beach, I think, maybe. So I threw it in there, but it's still a Hasbro. So I'm trying to slowly switch over, but I hate to waste 70 pair of hands, you know, perfect hands, on the GI Joe diorama, but ultimately I will. I did an Iwo Jima thing, and because I had five just 64 GI Joes with eyeliners and beefy hands and baby feet, and I didn't know what the heck to do with them. So crazily, instead of selling them, which I should have done, I put them all in Marine uniforms and then did an Iwo Jima flag raising diorama.
Oh.
And that's the problem, is you can't see any of their faces. So, and they look really good too. That's too bad, but they're there. And I know they're there, so that makes it nice. So that's the kind of the quick tour of the 600 and some GI Joes that I have here.
Yeah.
Hey, someone just asked, hey, Neil, you ever going to come to one of the shows? Why don't you come down to Dallas this year? It's like June 20th. That'd be fun. You'd have a good old time hanging out.
Well, you know who came to visit is Bob Welch.
Oh, I know Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came and he asked me to. So that was another one of those visits. When he told me who he was, it's like, oh God, now what? You know, I was gonna critique all this stuff. So,
he's a great guy.
So he was, and that's the great part. He really was. And you know, I have the only show I've ever been is a local toy show, just for fun. I think I would be incredibly depressed if I went to an actual G.I. Joe show, like Joe
No.
because
No.
only because it's like, oh my gosh, I want all this stuff and I can't have it.
Yeah, exactly.
So and you know, it's a kind of a different hobby here, because now, you know, my main goal. I mean, you were just talking earlier about you know collecting these very specific things, you know, in the 2000s and 1999 and the salesman sample, and it's like, wow, you know, that's great. And but my goal is to just kind of show people, you know, what the whole action figure deal was about. So I can fudge a little bit here or there. And you know, the one thing that bothers me is that people find these, you know, 21st century soldiers and the uniforms far more, people that don't know G.I. Joe, they think those are far cooler than the Hasbro Joes because they're more detailed. I mean, they came out later. You know, their vehicles are much more detailed, you know, than the staff car or the Panther jet and so forth. So, you know, that kind of disappoints me for people that don't know G.I. Joes. And the people that do know G.I. Joes, they just walk right by that. They don't hardly even look at it because they're here to see, you know, the actual G.I. Joes that that you grew up with.
I remember watching one of your videos on YouTube, and you said you don't mind if the kids play with it. It's not the diorama, though. It's other stuff.
Well, you know, the problem with the diorama, I built this silly little rail around it that you can see, and that doesn't keep anybody out. But but it's cool looking. You know, it's like, oh wow, that looks cool. And kids, there's so many handprints in there with kids that love the sand part of it, and I don't really care because the Joes I really cared about are locked away, you know, not locked away, but behind glass. So, you know, nobody's going to mess with the nurse or the African-American guys, you know, or some of the 64 guys. And, you know, if they take an adventure team guy and drop him and break something, it's like, fine, whatever. You know, as long as they're having a good time, it doesn't matter.
Do you find many of the younger kids that come in to see the museum then want to start, like, what is G.I. Joe and want to start collecting, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, we made a few converts, you know, like, oh, wow, I want to get G.I. Joe. And I occasionally will have, you know, something to sell. And sometimes, you know, the folks will buy those for them. But most of the kids that come are G.I. Joe collectors, man. That's the next generation. Really? They're out there. And I was shocked by that. I didn't think there would be. You know, Ace and two other guys, you know, Mike and Angelo and so forth. You probably see these guys all the time. And I don't. I mean, I am really out here, you know, in the middle of nowhere, and you just don't see that kind of thing.
If you came to the show, Neil, you'd meet him.
Exactly.
Me go.
I'm going to shame you. I'm going to shame you into coming.
No.
I got a couple.
Well, what's closer? What's closer? I was going to go, what's closer, Kentucky or Dallas? Because I'm going to go to Kentucky with my boys. We're going to do a road trip.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would tell Neil to come to both, but he's about 3 hours from Dallas. So that's 3.5 maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. You can finish it up for tonight.
Yeah. All right. So what's the closest airport, or how far is the closest airport to your museum?
Well, Lawton has an airport, which is about an hour and a half away. But basically Oklahoma City, which is 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Yeah.
And my hometown is Lawton.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I fly out of Lawton a lot. But I tell you, I don't charge anything for the museum. It's totally free. Wow. And I've gotten a few donations, but it's and I make a little bit of money, a little bit on the repairs. And right now I'm in a kind of a repair craze because people are sending me a lot of things to fix, you know, restringing and those muscle body things, and which, by the way, I never even knew existed until I got into this.
Sound familiar, Stacy, or no?
Yeah. What was your favorite piece in the whole museum? What, or the thing you consider maybe the rarest? Or
well, I always liked my my nurse. Again, I mean, the problem with the nurse is the nurse looks like Amy Schumer, and every time I pass the nurse, I always think, oh my gosh, it's Amy Schumer. Why would Hasbro? You know, I don't know who created this nurse, but I don't know, what were they thinking, man? He's going up against Barbie, but because it's so rare, and that's the question I ask everybody. Say, what is the rarest Joe, the most expensive Joe in G.I. Joe in my museum? And I mean, almost nobody gets it because they're all looking at. Nobody even pays attention to the nurse, it seems. But I like it. I like her.
I have a quick question for you. Yeah. Have you ever had to ask anybody to leave because I'd take that little rail and I'd hop that little rail and I'd be laying up there with those G.I. Joes in the diorama playing with them. You'd have to ask me to leave.
Well,
He'd have you set up another one.
I have to get a screenshot here and post your picture. So we can, yeah.
Banned from the facility.
Yeah, this man is no longer welcome.
No, people, like I said, there's two kinds of people. People that'll just walk through it, and say, "Oh, okay, this is stupid," and just leave real quick. And then those people that will stay 2 or 3 hours. Last weekend, guy brought 3 GI Joes with him to fix, and he and his brother, who collected GI Joes, who played with GI Joes, I should say, stayed, I don't know, 2-3 hours, I think. And Ace stayed a while too. I think his dad was trying to drag him out of the.
He was, but we were having a good old time.
That's Ace, man. Hey,
fun.
we're a little past the time. Doc, can we keep you on for about 5 more minutes to do a little trivia?
Sure.
I always like to finish my shows up with a little trivia. This one should be easy for you because it is trivia of Oklahoma, sir. Oklahoma. Between you and Ace, you and Ace should get all these questions correct.
Ace has me on this one, though. I've only been here 10 years.
I haven't lived there in 35. Come on, man.
All right. So the way we play the game, we go around the horn. Everybody gets 3 questions. We go around 3 times. So, and they're just true or false, sir. So not a lot of thinking, although some people like Angelo like to take a long time to pick true or false. So, and the people in the chat room, you can play along as well. So, first question goes to Stacy. You're in the top left. Are you ready for this word?
I am.
The Saurophago Anox Maximus. I think I'm saying that right. I had to look it up. Is Oklahoma's official state fossil? True or false?
What?
True.
That is true.
It's a dinosaur.
It is a dinosaur. Yeah, it's like a T-Rex kind of thing. Angelo,
Why didn't I get that? Why did I get? All right, go ahead.
Oklahoma is the only state that produces coffee in the United States. True or false?
That produces coffee. I'm gonna say false.
It is false. You're correct. Ace, 24% of Oklahoma is covered by forest.
24%. Yeah, I'm gonna say true because the whole eastern part of the state's covered in trees.
It is true. I didn't think so, but yeah, it is true. Good
Yeah.
job.
Not out here in western Oklahoma.
Not where we're from, pal.
Who's up? Mike.
Yes, sir.
The name Oklahoma comes from the, I'm going to screw this up, Choctaw language,
Yeah,
and it
right.
means sun or red people.
I'm gonna have to say false.
That is true, sir. I'm sorry. That is
It's
true.
like land of the red people or something like that.
Yeah,
was
it
what I
said
was
sun
told.
people or red people. I don't know. So.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, to end round 1, you're up.
All right.
There is an operating oil well on the state capitol grounds. True or false? You cannot Google this, sir. You have to just.
Steve McQueen says true.
Steve McQueen got in the museum somehow. That is true, sir. You are correct.
Yeah. This is one from John Penn over in Indiana.
That's awesome. The Cooler King says true.
Round 2. The state motto of Oklahoma is "Water is life." True or false, Stacy?
I would say that sounds like
Loser? What does loser mean?
what is loser? Yeah. I'm gonna say that sounds like true.
That is false, sir.
Okay.
We're playing a trick.
That's
on
what
you.
that means right there.
Oh, I thought it meant Bullet Man.
Hey, when we go off the air, you can explain the whole Bullet Man too. Doc. I don't want to take 10 minutes of the show to explain the Bullet Man thing. All right, Angelo, you're up. Oklahoma's 4 mountain ranges include, and I'm going to screw these up again because they're Indian names, Achitawis, Arbuckles, Wichitas, and the Comanche. It looks like Comanches, but it's spelled different.
True.
That is true. I was going to give it to you anyway because it's so hard to say those words. Ace, you're up. The Will Rogers World Airport and the Wiley Post Airport are both named after 2 famous Oklahomans, both killed in a same airplane crash.
Yes, sir. They crashed about 1935 in, I believe, Barrow, Alaska. That's very true. Will Rogers was a great statesman from Oklahoma.
Wow.
Just a great comedian, speaker, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Back down to you, Mike. Oklahoma is the only state in the U.S. that produces mercury. True or false?
I might really be bombing tonight, but I'm gonna say true on that one. Seems kind of specific.
It is false. Does anybody know what it is, though? The true answer is iodine.
Ooh.
Oklahoma is the only state that produces iodine.
I had no idea.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. End of round two. Muskegee marked the start of the Girl Scout cookie sale in 1942. True or false?
It must be Muskogee.
Is that Muskogee?
Muskogee. Okay.
Mark the start of the Girl Scout. I'm going to say true because, again, that's very specific.
It is false. However, it did start in 1917.
Wow.
But
Trick question.
Yeah, it was trick date, but yeah, it did start there. So,
wow.
All right, last round, Stacy.
All right.
The port of Katosa. Am I saying that right? Ace? Katosa is the largest island port in the United States. Inland port in the United States.
Inland port. Catoosa, I think it is. I don't really know. That's on the eastern.
Catoosa. Catoosa?
Yeah.
True.
That is true, sir. Yes, sir.
See,
It felt
my
right.
corner.
Angelo.
Sure.
The shopping cart was invented in Ardmore in 1936.
Sure it was.
Ace?
I'd say true.
It is true. It is true.
Ardmore's not far from Lone Wolf and Lawton.
Sylvan Goldman, whoever that was.
Yep.
Ace, right? I'm going to pronounce this wrong too. Cimarron County?
Cimarron.
Cimarron.
Yeah.
Located in the Oklahoma Panhandle, is the
way the hell
only
out of
county in
Just say yes.
Is the only county in the U.S. bordered by 3 separate states, including Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado.
It is not New Mexico. Well, yeah, maybe it is New Mexico, but I'm gonna say true. And because I know they're bordered by New Mexico at some point, and I think it must be that county. But that is way in the middle of nowhere, man. But Boomer Sooner, and I'm gonna say true.
It is false, sir. It is bordered by 4 states.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Well, I thought I said 3, 4, but so it was true.
True for 3 of them, but there's actually 4.
But there were 3. This is
Mike,
going to be bullshit.
Mike, did you get it right yet?
No.
All right, man.
It's my last chance.
We got an easy one for you. The world's first installed parking meter was in Oklahoma City. True or false?
Again, seems pretty specific. I'll probably bomb out, but I'll say, well, I don't know. I guess that had to be false. It had to be like New York City or something.
You are 0 for 3, sir. It is true.
Dude, I'm jumping up and down saying yes.
Oh.
Ace was trying to help you out there, man.
Oh, I didn't know if the thumbs up meant I was going the right way or what.
No.
We got to work on hand signals better.
Yeah.
Last one to you, Dr. Neal. Are you ready?
All right.
Oklahoma is the birthplace of Route 66. True or false?
The birthplace?
The birthplace of Route 66. True or false?
It's kind of in the middle, so I would say no.
Them internets are saying it's true. I don't know.
Debate that because I believe like one of the guys was from Oklahoma, but the Missouri, I think, is really the state that kind of started it, but whatever. Boomer
Well, we
Sooner.
have 2 Route 66 museums, so.
Yeah.
Oklahoma does or Missouri does?
Oklahoma.
Yeah. All right.
Boomer Sooner.
I thought it was Missouri
Well,
too.
Dr. Neal, I'm going to bring you up big, and this is your chance to tell people how they can find you, your website, internet, Instagram, if you have that, and go ahead.
Well, very specific. I have a Facebook page, and my phone number's on there. I got my phone number and my cell number. You can call me, and send me, give me a call. Tell me if you need anything fixed, repaired. Be happy to do it. And if you want to come visit, I'll meet you here almost any time, so you can kind of check it all out. Be happy to have visitors. We have about 200 visitors a year, not a whole lot, but it's not bad considering where we are.
Thank you much, sir.
Nice.
And according to Ace,
I would have give him just a pitch, man. I've been to this thing. If you love GI Joe, and if you happen to be in Southwest Oklahoma, you've got to go. It really is an amazing stop. It's really an amazing place, and it's a great temple to the toy that we all love.
Well, thank you.
There's a plug from Ace. Good job, man.
Neil, real quick, do you sell anything like T-shirts or any kind of merchandise?
I do have. I've got my GI Joe polo.
Oh, I need that.
But yeah, here we go.
That's cool.
Lone Wolf, Oklahoma.
Yeah, but no, people have said you should sell T-shirts, but I don't know. Just probably a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Come up with some witty saying of some.
And what would be neat is on the back have a map. I have a map where it's located, with the information. No, I think that would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a good idea. I'll take that in consideration here. That's good.
Yeah. So next week, guys, here's the deal. We could have Steve Weimer, who was a toy designer at Hasbro, if he gets back to me in time. We may have James DeSimone if he gets back off of vacation since he missed the last one. We could have Sean Huckster, who contacted me, and he's trying to get on our schedule. So we're not sure who our guest is going to be next week, but it's going to be one of those three, hopefully. So,
all right.
And then at the beginning of, I guess it would be May, we're going to have the British invasion. We're going to have Alan Dawson on with 3 or 4 other guys from Europe, and they're going to be talking about Action Man versus G.I. Joe. So it's going to be our, what is that? The third British invasion. So
oh, man.
We're going to do a little comparison and why Action Man is so much better than G.I. Joe. So.
Yo.
I have one Action Man in the museum.
I've never come across any except at shows, and they're always too expensive, man. So
wow.
And Ace is trying to get me in touch with some of those authors of some of those other books, right, man? We're trying to figure out if
we're trying to
people
find
are
out
still
if
around, and so.
Oh, let me just say one quick thing.
Yes, sir.
My main resource is vintage 3D GI Joe, man.
Well, that's the owner right there. That's the owner of it. You're looking at
I
him.
know. And I saw that, and I thought, oh, this is great. Now, it was great before, and I'm sure it's going to be even better now.
Yes, sir.
And I need to put a link to your web. I need to put a link to the museum on there. And I know I'm talking about doing some changes and stuff like that. And really, that would be a great thing to do, because you got to figure out, do you have brochures or anything, Neil? Anything like that you can at least give to me to take and give at the show? Because if I'm at Dallas, I should be at least have something to hand out to people to say, hey, if you're in Lone Wolf, go up there.
I do have a bunch of rack cards that
awesome.
If you we'll get together, give me the address, and I'll send it to you.
And you know what else would be cool, Ace, to get on your channel too, is have Neil do like a 360 video and go all the way around and then post it so you can see what was inside the museum. That would be pretty cool for your show.
There's a video on my Facebook page. These folks came over and did a nice little 4-minute video. The only problem was they interviewed my daughter, and I think they made it more about her than about me, because they were totally taken by her damn pictures. And so I almost got shut out of the thing. So.
That's awesome.
So again, we will be here next week, same time. And Doc, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule and joining us tonight. Hopefully, we can get you back on again. Maybe when you expand the museum a little bit, give us a little bit,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Angelo wants the Action Man in there. So once you get, Action Man in there, or if you do anything with Bullet Man, we want to make sure we get Bullet Man in there.
Yeah, he loves Bullet
I'll
Man.
just buy another building and make it a Bullet Man.
There's got to be a third building across the street or something we could do.
There actually is, by the way.
There you go.
We're going to get a zip line. We're going to get a zip line for Bullet Man, and it's going to go right into a brick wall.
And if you tuned in late tonight, and if you're in the chat room, somebody notify Tim Cope, because he is the big winner of one of my sets. So Congratulations.
If not,
to
I
Tim
get
Gill.
it. If not, I get it. I guess. Right.
Right on, brother. Hey, everybody, have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. As they say in Mexico, AMF.